Welcome back to Financial Strategies with Andrew Adjemi in Connecticut and Daniel Adjemi in Colorado.
Not so long ago, Joey was listening to our radio program, called us up and said, "Hey, Andrew, you talk about having this income. I got a couple $1 million, and I want to be able to get income from that." And so I talked to Joey about how he could switch from accumulation to distribution, from growth to income. And the funny thing is about Joey is that I had actually spoken to Joey about 7 years ago, 2013. And in 2013, Joey had $2 million. Today, Joey has $2 million. The egregious thing is, it's been 7 years and he really hasn't made any money. And what's even more egregious than that is because I tried to talk with him about income back then, but he kept his money in a growth strategy. And today I spoke to him about it again. Unfortunately, Joey doesn't know what Joey doesn't know. And the worst thing is, he doesn't want to know what he doesn't know, because he keeps his money even today in a growth strategy, even though he's retired. And his wife is many years younger than him and can live a long time. Joey has not switched from accumulation to distribution. Joey has the number one enemy of paycheck replacement working against him. I'm Andrew Adjemi.
And I'm Daniel Adjemi, and you're listening to Financial Strategies. Today we're talking about what is your plan for replacing your paycheck? Dad, that's a sobering story. It's something that we hear about all the time, that markets always go up, or that if it's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market, and all these kinds of wonderful sayings that come from Wall Street, who makes money when markets go up, when markets go down, and when markets go sideways. And if they don't, then they get bailed out by the taxpayer.
Right.
But that's what the last 13 years have been, some of the best we've ever had in US stock markets. And so to have your money not increase in value over that time is ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. And the thing is, he's concerned. He calls himself a conservative investor, and he's got a lot of the money in basically in the bank, not doing anything, but then he's got other monies that's in some form of account that's moving with the stock market. And between those things happening, he's really not doing anything, which is just, ouch, it hurts a lot. And this is the number one mistake that people make with their money, that retirees make with their money. They fail to shift from the accumulation stage to the distribution stage at the proper time. Many times I'll have people come in and talk to me and say, "Oh, Andrew, I'm still, I'm only 67 years old. I've got 5 years before I'm going to have to start taking out my required minimum distributions. And I'll come see you when I'm 72 years old and move from accumulation to distribution at that standpoint." And I'm like, no. You don't get it. You got to do it sooner rather than later, so that you'll be in a position to be able to take care of that. When it comes time when you're 72 years old, I mean, that $1 million could be 750 or 50,000, or it could still be $1 million in 5 years from now, in the example of Joey, right? But the key is to be able to, the closer you get to retirement, and usually we talk to people about this 5-10 years even before retirement, to start switching from accumulation to distribution. And that is a key way to be able to, number one, provide for a paycheck replacement program. It's the number one enemy against it, because people don't switch. Why? Because most often their monies are in their 401k plans. The market's going up, and what do people do? Well, the market's going up, so as long as it's going up, they want to keep their money in. Not do they think about taking it out until the market has dropped a lot. That's the wrong way of thinking. You need to take it out when the market's high, and buy when the market's low. But people don't do that. So,
well, that's one of the beautiful things about income, is because you don't have to be an expert timer, right? Why do I say that? Well, I encourage everybody to go look at your investment statements, and it will say on your investment statements, don't look at whatever the return is year to date, because that doesn't matter. Why doesn't that matter? Because if markets crashed the year before, then just getting back to even, it has to go up a tremendous amount. So that doesn't matter. What matters is your averages, like what has it done over 5 years. But what's even more important than that is look on the statements to see where it says something like estimated income, yield, something like that, because that is money that you know is coming into your account. Why is that important? That's so important because when you have a renewable resource, when you have money coming into your account, you're not working for it, your assets are being put to work for you. That money's coming into your account. That means you don't have to be a market timer anymore
Right.
because you always know that there's money coming in your account. That means you can continue the lifestyle you want, or when stuff, I think it was Rothschild said, when there's blood in the streets, that's when I buy. You have cash, so that when there's blood in the streets, when people are terrified, you can buy these things at their lows when they're cheap, instead of what most people do, and they get excited like in 2000 when things could only go up. And what happened, right? People got
Yeah.
in at the highs, and that's what typically happens. When you switch those models to investing for income, you know you have cash coming into your account every month, every quarter, every year, that you can do whatever you want with. It's your money. It's real money.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy, Daniel, because if we look at this S&P 500, most of the growth in the S&P 500 over the past 20 years has been because of the income portion rather than the growth portion. I'm looking forward to doing a show on that sometime. Anyway, I want to let you know, to our listening audience, you're listening to Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Adjemi. Today's topic is paycheck replacement at retirement. We have a companion piece to go along with today's show called The 7 Risks of Your Retirement. 7 Risks of Your Retirement. You can get that by calling 800-725-7616. Megan is looking forward to speaking with you. Ask her for the report on 7 risks. 7 risks to your retirement. You're listening to Financial Strategies because people don't know what people don't know. Daniel, this thing about paycheck replacement, having income that people need, switching from accumulation to distribution, switching from growth to income at the proper times is so significant. People don't understand how that happens and what the logistics of that is. I mentioned a few moments ago that typically, 10 years, even 5 years before retirement is the best time to start making the move and moving some of their portfolio over into these areas. And like you said earlier, we believe in purpose before performance. And it's not that we're only income-minded people, income-minded in our philosophy. We want growth. We get growth. We've gotten some significant growth for our clients on their performance side this past year, especially. But the key, like you say, is first is investing for the purpose. The purpose is to replace that paycheck. Once you got that paycheck, then you can delve off into other areas, right?
Right. I know people like examples. So I'm looking at a report of a gentleman who did exactly what you're talking about, right? He wanted to retire in something like 5 years, and so he made that switch from growth. And when we say growth, everybody's like, of course, everybody wants to get as most growth out of the money as possible, but a lot of people say I'm conservative and I want growth. And I don't think if you have 50% drawdowns on your account, that's conservative, right? So to earn a, a 7% rate of return, you have to put up with 50%, multiple 50% drawdowns. That doesn't sound good to me. That doesn't sound like a good risk return to me.
No.
That sounds like there's way more risk. But anyway, so he decided to switch to the income model. And that doesn't mean you have to give up growth. It just means your focus is what we've been talking about, the paycheck replacement, where you
Right,
know
right,
you
right,
have a certain amount of income no matter what's going on, right?
right.
So he switched, and it's worked out wonderfully because now he's ready to retire, and his money has grown. Now it's maybe 1.5 million, right? But it can generate him $90,000 a year. Why
Wow,
is that number
fantastic.
so high? Right? Because why
Yeah.
is that number so high? It's because he changed strategies early enough, which
Right.
allows this stuff to work. And what we've been talking about when you have that volatility, right? And you
Yeah.
have cash coming in the accounts where you can
Yeah.
participate,
Yeah.
it makes everything grow like that snowball rolling down a hill, right? It starts off really small, and the longer it goes, the faster and faster it starts going, and pretty soon it starts wrecking everything in its way.
Right.
That's the income model.
That's beautiful, isn't it? It's just great how that works for people, and it's something that unfortunately people don't hear enough of. So, I think, Daniel, that people listen to us and they just don't understand it because most people don't speak in these terms of income. And they're not aware of how this works. They don't know what they don't know. And so when they hear it from us on our show or in some of our literature or whatever it may be, it's like a new something brand new, and they can't wrap their heads around it. But that's what I love so much about how and what we do for our clients. Because I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg what we're talking about. Because we do like a good chess player thinks 7 moves ahead, and we're thinking ahead, so that we can synergistically use this money to make it to use to compound it for people to be able to become bigger, to be able to use for them, last longer, or be able to pass it on to the next generation or whatever they may have. But I need to remind you, and we need to take a break. At you and the listening audience, you're listening to Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Adjemi. Today's topic is paycheck replacement in retirement. And we have the piece that we have to go along with today's show is the 7 risks to retirement. Plus, we have the book Return on Principle. If you want either of those 7 risks to your retirement or Return on Principle by David J. Scranton, please call us 800-725-7616. There's no cost, no obligations. Megan's looking forward to speaking with you. Call her at 800-725-7616. We'll be right back after this.
History tells us the market goes up and the market goes down. What would you do if you lost half of your retirement savings? It's time to make the shift to steady, reliable retirement income. And where do you go? The Retirement Income Store. Log on to Adjemi.com for your free retirement review. That's AGEMY.com. The Retirement Income Store, where retirees go for income.